The Aftershokz Titanium headphones causing their competitors to quake? Or are the MPOW Flame 2 headphones still burning up the competition? My name's Ray Whitby, this is Aspiring Runners. Let's get cracking with that review. Now, one question that does get asked in many running forums year after year, whether it's a couch to 5k runner or a seasoned marathon runner, would be what kind of headphones do you run with? And of course everybody has their favourites, and in the list of recommendations that I see time after time, it's the MPOW Flame 2 that have come up trumps in recent times, but only to potentially be usurped by the Aftershokz system. So in this review we're going to compare both of them as we're running and try to give you the lowdown of each of the systems. Now, the MPOW Flame 2 Bluetooth connection, absolutely fantastic little system. Like every other modern day headphone, they come with replaceable earbuds, so you get a nice tight fitting according to the aperture. They are actually very comfortable to wear. I love the over the ear design, which just keeps it nicely attached to my noggin. Now, I prefer that to having an in-ear or on-the-ear headphone. It's just having that little bit of extra comfort and security. The lead itself, though, as it's hanging down, does kind of bounce on the back of the neck, which can be frustrating, but I think after a while you kind of get used to it. Apart from when you start sweating copiously, and then if your neck is sweating, things can get rather sticky and it become uncomfortable, where it actually just seems to stick to the neck. So a bit of an unfortunate thing, but with time you may get used to it, or you're constantly just doing the micro adjustments. And I have to say that overall I love the comfort of the MPOW Flame 2 headphones. They are a system that I've been running with for about a year and a half now, and I just haven't had a problem. I've tried different systems prior to them, and this seems to be one that I have favoured for a lot of my training. Now, the only thing I have noticed, one of the negatives, is that occasionally I just have to push them into the ear. It seems as though that time has taken its toll. Maybe the polymer, the rubber mesh, the rubber lining has just perished, and it kind of leads to a little bit of slipping. But again, it does depend on your skin condition as well, one would have thought. In terms of the sound quality, well, I don't think I've yet to find a set of headphones for the audiophile. These are great. They can certainly crank up the volume without any major distortion, but like most running headphones, they really do lack the bass. So if you're after a true audiophile type quality of top range, then I think a lot of the running headphones are not going to be for you. I think these are designed for practicality, getting out there, getting hot, getting sweaty, or coping with the reverse weather conditions, huge amounts of rain. In terms of the connectivity, Bluetooth, I've never had a problem. Once they connected up, never lost a connection, and the sound keeps coming through, so you never have to adjust the phone that's connected to the headphones. These also have a simple set of controls, not just a case of adjusting the volume, but it's certainly over my right ear. You've got a little bit more depth to the kind of tunability, so you can have at least not just the volume increasing, decreasing, but you can also skip tracks. You can fast forward and reverse through tracks, all with a simple push of your finger. So there's no messing around or fumbling around for your phone trying to get to the sound that you're after. And when it comes to battery life, the MPOW Flame 2, absolutely fantastic. It seems as though that in a standard training schedule, it's almost a weekly or maybe a fortnightly basis that I seem to find myself having to recharge them. So it seems as though the battery life is just brilliant for this little pair. Now, the weather, I've been out, all conditions, I've not yet had a problem, but then I tend not to go out in the deepest of deluge. And then bring that all together in the price. And the price for this is just brilliant. And what I paid for them, about £20 a year and a half ago, It's just wonderful. So you don't get so conscious about losing them, breaking them, getting ripped off your head by brambles. Just a great little system, absolutely excellent for training purposes. So that sums up the MPOW Flame 2. Let's get on to the Aftershokz Titanium. And in terms of the competition, we have the Aftershokz Titanium, and these are a rather interesting pair of headphones to wear. And when I had seen lots of reviews and recommendations based on the MPOW Flame 2, the dissenting opinion kind of favoured these headphones, and I had to go out and try them. So I have a family of aspiring runners, and I was able to justify the cost to at least do a trial with them. So having trained with them for quite a few months now, the Aftershokz systems, they are a different design. They're not really on the ear, they're not in the ear, they're pseudo over the ear, but they're actually resting on the cheekbone. So through clever acoustics, the sound is able to tunnel in through the cheekbone into the oral canal. So I should say aural canal. And that gives you really good quality of music coming through, or at least it's not diminished by the interface of the headphones to your ears and whatever conditions are going on around you. I have to say, in terms of the quality of sound itself, probably very much like the MPOW Flame 2 and every other running headphones that I've tested to date, that they all seem to lack in the bass end. That if you're after that true quality of sound, then probably trying to run at the same time is not such a good thing. Or you're wearing a system that's so bulky and heavy, could get very uncomfortable. But for the Aftershokz, as they sit over the ear and onto the cheekbones, actually they are quite comfortable. It takes a little bit of getting used to, because the positioning is very different if you're not used to it. But once they're in, as I say, that you can run without any real problems. It has the benefit over the MPOW system that you don't have a floppy lead that's bouncing on your neck. The lead, or the head wire, is kind of a rigid system, but it probably can't see it in this video, it does rest against the back of the neck from time to time, which can be a little bit daunting when you're not used to it. But it's the kind of thing that you do just kind of phase out after a couple of runs. So in terms of comfort, it's just a case of getting used to the little bit of extra bulk. Now, that does have a small interference, at least on my head, when it comes to wearing sunglasses and a sun hat. Not a major issue, but I think it does depend on the type of glasses and how deep your hat is sitting on your head. Sorry, just going through a rather technical bit. So we have the ability of a really nice secure system against the head. One of the downsides, I'd say, is that with a rigid connector going behind the head, you could have somebody come up to you, grab them and yank them off. It does represent a convenient handle to your system, and I think what we were paying for these was about £70 at the time. It's kind of an expensive system to suddenly go wandering, but if somebody has the temerity to run after you to grab your headphones, well, it's going to be unlikely they'll be able to scarp quick enough, at least not from me. Be a good training thing. Now, moving on. Connectivity, Bluetooth, again, very straightforward, secure, never drops a connection. Sound comes through crisp. The problem, I think, with these systems, even going up to their top level, is that the functionality of controls on the headphones is pretty poor. That there is a volume control, and that's it. And you're then stuck with whatever playlist you have, not able to fast forward or rewind, not able to skip. I think it's possibly something that they'll look at in future iterations. Maybe not a deal breaker, but I like to leave my phone in the pocket or in the belt bag, secured away, never have to fumble with it. Now, battery life, this is claimed 6 hours. So that should, take up maybe half a week, maybe in a full week. Depends on your training load, how many runs you're doing, how long you're doing them for. What I have found is that these I have to charge more often than the MPOW Flame 2 headphones. So I think that would count in a positive for the MPOW system. Certainly as a negative for these if you're out on a series of long runs. The weatherproofing for these ones, well, it has, I believe it's an IP67 rating. Well, let me check that. It should be available. I'll put the details in the description below. But it basically gives you some dust and some splash-proof weatherproofing. Of course, like most systems, they're never going to be 100% waterproof. And I think the certain design like that would be somewhat impractical. But I think you can buy headphones that you can swim with. So again, it comes down to what is it you're after. Go for something appropriate that also fits your budget. In terms of the price then, the Aftershokz Titanium, they're probably 3 times more expensive than the MPOW Flame 2. And that can be a real off-putter, that could be a real game breaker. But it depends on your budget and what you're after. I think very much like other aspects of running, like shoes in particular, you'll probably end up having to try several pairs until you find the ones that you like. Same with running headphones. So in summary, I'd say that the Aftershokz Titaniums are a really fantastic system. Despite their tiny little controls and only having volume just over the ear, you may end up fumbling around for the phone. It could be a deal breaker for you. But I love the fact that it has a really nice secure feeling on the head. And the quality of sound, again, it's at the moment no better, no worse. It does allow you to hear ambient sounds around whilst you're running, but I haven't had a problem with the MPOW Flame 2 on that front either. So in terms of the functionality, I think the Aftershokz are certainly on the right pathway. If they could just sort out the controls in future iterations, I think these would be brilliant. And now the MPOW Flame 2, if we're just considering price alone for functionality, then of course it wipes the floor with the Aftershokz. These are just an absolutely fantastic, reliable, robust system. And yeah, maybe after a couple of years, if the polymer's perishing and you're finding that the system is slipping more, then you just buy yourself another. Just very straightforward. Don't need to worry about if they get lost or damaged, because they're inexpensive. So it really depends on where you're at. Now, you may have your own preferences and your own reason for choosing the Aftershokz or the MPOW Flame 2, or maybe there's an even better headphone for running that you'd recommend. So please do comment down below. Tell me what system that you use, if you use headphones at all. It'd be good to know. And I really do thank you for coming along on this review. And please do have a look at lots of other videos on this channel. It would be great if you want to subscribe. Click the bell notification to be alerted to upcoming videos. And yeah, want to give me a big thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything, but really does help the transformation and growth of this channel. Well, look, thanks once again. And I'll catch you next time on Aspiring Runners. Take care.